Okay, this is Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man impromptu update part 2. So, I finally put the thing together. All the pieces are now connected. There was a lot of pieces. If you saw the first video, you know, this piece, the display panel, 3 different pieces of glass. But yeah, so it's all put together and it was stuck in a weird state where basically no solenoids and no switches were working. And I checked all the voltages on the power supply and I removed, tested, and checked all the fuses to make sure they were correct. And I did the same for the solenoid driver board, which probably not going to be able to deal with right now, but all voltages were good, all fuses were good. So I was banging my head off the wall for a while there, and eventually I finally discovered that this little cap here, try and get my finger behind there, well, that's a new cap, because the old cap on the tilt bob switch had gone open. Did I save that piece? Let's see. Not that I wanted to save it, but I often just throw the miscellaneous. Oh, here it is too. Look at that. That guy there, he went bad. So basically the entire machine would not work because of this. The machine thought that it was in tilt, when in fact it wasn't. It was that capacitor that had gone bad. So what do you know? You change a 10-cent piece and voila, all of a sudden we got all switches, all solenoids, and I was able to play test a little bit. But I didn't want to get too crazy because, well, the flippers on the left was a Gottlieb 17875, and on the right was a Stern 25 450 34 4500. That number, I believe, is actually correct. Isn't that correct? Let's go double check that. Here we go. Can you see that? Flippers 25 500. Oh yeah, that one was different. The 25 450. So those number of windings was off by 50, which is not really a big deal. But hey, I had 2 Bally coils, I believe. Actually, that is a Bally coil, and that is more of a generic coil, but I replaced them both. Rebuilt both flippers. We've got the new plungers, new coil stops, new coils, new spring washers in between here. You can't really see, but I got new screws and new coil stops and new coil sleeves. So I haven't tested these yet, but that was about the last thing I needed to do. Because just in case these coils were stronger than called for, I didn't want to be busting shit. So I didn't want to play with super strong flippers and break more stuff, because there was actually a broken post on the play field, which I had to repair or replace. Oh shit, okay, careful there, playfield, careful. This guy here was broken off. I found the parts in the cabinet when I was exploring, and so that's all remedied now, but you know, that's pretty much in direct line of the flipper. If you got a flipper that's too strong bashing on that, maybe that's why that broke, or maybe just because it's like, you know, 30 years old. So that could be a thing. So I've combed over all the other switches and solenoids, making sure everything's good. There was a couple non-working switches, and I determined that 2 of these diodes had broken off. there's the original diode. It's more like a Zener looking style. This is the more familiar style, like a 1N4005, I think, or 4004. Anyway, replace those guys, and now all drop target switches are working. And I noticed another broken wire here and there, and this rollover switch, it was missing the capacitor altogether, so it explains why that switch wasn't working. Although it doesn't need the cap to work, it's just if the ball is going to roll over really quickly, the capacitor, you know, stores a little bit of energy and helps register the switch. So without that, balls that travel over that really quickly just are not likely to register. Same with the tilt bob, because that is another switch that gets hit really quickly, right? You jiggle the machine, it's like, if that cap's not there, you can actually hear the tilt bob banging off the ring and not registering. That's usually a bad or missing cap. Actually, it would be a missing cap. Yeah, so there's some of the old flipper parts. Did a pinball resource rebuild kit in the lowers and refurbished the upper flipper here. Looking forward to doing some play testing, because that's about all I've got left. I've got 2 light bulbs that aren't working, these 2 guys. And the sockets and bulbs are good, so it's going to either be the connector or the little transistors on the lamp driver board. So I got to pull that and check into that. But I think that is it. Oh, I do have the soundboard out for repair because it was sounding a little cranky, and I wasn't getting my sound effects. I was getting a couple call-outs, like Pac-Man or something, but that was about it. And oh yeah, the other thing I'll have to fix is this fluorescent tube. It is not working, and I can see that somebody tried to change the starter. As a white starter, they're usually silver. And also, more evidence that they were tinkering with that. Did you notice before? Another starter in the coin box. So, oh, there's where the other spring steels were. I replaced these with the flipper rebuild kit, and I was wondering, they must have not put these in when they were tinkering with these old coils, and sure enough, there they are. They didn't put them back in. It prevents the coils from rattling around. Oh yeah, so the fluorescent tubes in my storage, I found these, and I thought I hit the jackpot, but too short. So I have to keep looking. I think there's a chance that I might have one rogue fluorescent tube that might be the correct size. It's just, which bin is it in is the question. So that's what I've been working with. Miscellaneous tools. Oh yeah, I had actually here, this screw, there was no screw there, and there was a screw here with some washers holding the coil stop in place. So I investigated that, removed everything, and the screw was broken off inside of the bracket, and there was nothing to grab onto from either side. So I, for the first time, used a drill bit from my tap kit, and this thing has got such a nice little grippy, pointy, sharp end that when I was trying to drill through the screw, it actually caught it a few times and pretty much twisted it right out the backside. So I was able to get that broken screw out. I actually can't find it right now. It's in the playfield somewhere, or it's in bits. I don't really know, but I have to investigate. And then I re-tapped out the hole, new screw in there, and boom, Bob's your uncle, and no more hack. Where is that hack? It was basically this. These 2 washers on here. Like so. In that screw hole, holding the friggin' coil stop in place. That has been remedied. Yeah, so, oh yeah, I rebuilt the shooter rod too, and Got a new barrel spring and a new yellow shooter tip from the Drapple store. Eddie DeRozzo, shout out. First time using one of your colored shooter tips, I believe, and I like it. I'll be using those a lot more. So that's where I'm at. Next step, play test. So who knows? Maybe I'll do another update once I test this out like 100 times and perfect and dial this bad boy in. So until next time, sayonara.